Hello everyone and welcome to this new video on the channel. So today we have got my championship predictions for the 25-26 season, and let me tell you, none of the prediction videos have been easy, but this one has been extremely difficult. Not only at the bottom, trying to pick some teams to go down, but trying to roll the teams at the top as well. There's so many who could, finish absolutely anywhere, and it really has been tough to do. But I've got to get a prediction in before the season starts, and I have finally finalised my predictions. So let's get into them. So if you've watched my prediction videos before, you'll know the format that we use. So we use exactly the same format here. So I'm going to get the table on screen right now. So we're going to go from bottom to top. And the two columns at the right are going to be used at the end of the season to see how I've done. So the first column is the actual position that they finished. So where predict team, next fight I'll have where they actually finished in the season, and then we've got points difference to the right of that as well. So that's the amount of places are out. So but with a scoring system, the aim is to get the least amount of points possible. So let's say I predict someone's finishing 24th and they did finish in 24th, I'll get 0 points because it's a spot on score. I finished where I said. Whereas if I said 24th and I finished in 20th, I'll get 4 points, because if you do 24 minus 20, that equals 4, which is how many places they are out. So let's get straight into this prediction then, starting with the relegation zone. So I found this incredibly tough to pick 3 teams. The bottom 2 I found pretty straightforward, to be completely honest with you, but in terms of picking a final team, I found that extremely difficult. So I'm going to go into my teams now then. So 24th, I've got Sheffield Wednesday, and then 23rd, Hull City, and the final relegation spot, which are extremely tough to pick, I have gone for Preston North End. First one is a bit of a no-brainer, to be fair. Sheffield Wednesday in 24th. I think even, the most deluded Wednesday fans would even say they're going to finish dead last. It's hard enough to see him actually starting the season, never mind getting through it and actually having a league place at the end of it. Things looking real bleak at the minute for Wednesday. Obviously, you've got Barry Bannon who signed a new deal, but, the chaos going on at the club, the amount of players they've lost, everything like that, it's just not going to go well. I know 2 years ago when we came up, everyone was thinking they'd go straight back down in last place, but it feels a bit different this time, and I just don't see a way out of it for Wednesday. So 23rd, we've got Hull City then. So just like Wednesday, they are a very chaotic club as well. Nowhere near as chaotic as Wednesday, but, still not a good situation at Hull. And obviously, they sacked Ruben Sellers at the end of last season, which you thought would learn from mistakes with sacking Rossini year before when we finished just outside the playoffs. The season after, obviously, they dropped a lot, finished just outside the relegation zone, and they have sacked Sellers, who is now Sheffield United manager, so it's worked out better for him overall. But yeah, just, the amount of chaos going on at the club, just like Wednesday, I just don't see him, surviving. I think the league as a whole's got stronger. As you can see from the bottom 3, I have got the 3 teams that came up all surviving. So the teams who finished just above the bottom 3 have got to improve, or we're going to get dragged down very easily. And like I say, all the factors are kind of just leaning towards Hull getting relegated. And my final relegated team in 22nd, I have gone for Preston North End. I didn't want to relegate Preston, I'll be honest with you. I didn't want to put them in there, but just looking at your teams in there, I think a lot of them have improved. And Preston have as well. I think they've spent well. They've lost a lot of players as well, but I think just with how tight it is around there, I was struggling to find another team, to be honest with you. I just think it's going to be Preston who finish in there. I like some of the signs. Like I think Michael Smith, he'll get some goals, to be fair. He'll be dangerous from in the air and stuff like that. But I just think compared to the other teams around him, I think, not to name the names at the minute, but I think a lot of them are just going to be stronger than Preston. And, we had a bad run of form towards the end of the season and just ended up surviving. But I think they are just going to get dragged into it and go down to League One. So that is the relegated teams then. So let's move on to the 3 teams just above the relegation zone then. So going from 21st to 19th. So in 21st, I've got Oxford United. 20th, I've gone for Blackburn Rovers. And in 19th, I have gone for Watford. So I've got Oxford just surviving the drop. I don't think they'll go down at all. I think they'll be absolutely fine. I like Rowett as a manager. And the squad, it's a pretty good squad, to be fair. It's a squad that shouldn't be at bottom 3. And, I think they'll prove that, and I think they'll be absolutely fine this year. In the end, they survived pretty comfortably last season, and I think it'll be more again this season. So I've got Blackburn in 20th, which is quite a big drop, to be fair. However, one word that comes to mind when I think of Blackburn Rovers is chaos. Obviously, the Venkis, they've not had a steady run as owners, let's just put it that way. It seems to be one season they do well, other season, they fight relegation, then they're back up in the playoffs again. There just doesn't seem to be any consistency with him, and I think that'll be the same again. I do like Ishmael as a manager, though. I think he'll do well to kind of handle the chaos, so to speak. But we have lost a few players. Danny Bath and Vyman both following Eustace over to Derby. Tyrese Dolan as well going out the door to Espanyol. But I think they'll have enough to survive pretty comfortably. But I do think there'll be a big drop off from last season. Another team where chaos comes to mind is Watford, and I've got them down in 19th, dropping in a fair few places. They're one of them teams that you never know where to put them. I mean, I had them quite low last season and did better than I thought, to be fair, especially at the start of the season. But, I've gotten quite low again this year. I just think, eventually just, getting rid of managers all the time. I mean, Clever's been one of the longest serving ones in years and, lasted just over a year. It's going to catch up to you eventually. And, I think they're way off when, the Premier League days and stuff like that. I don't think we'll be anywhere near there. Anytime soon. If I think we'll be closer to the drop. And I just think it's going to be a tough season for Watford, I think, and I think we're going to drop down a few places. And I'm going to go for 3 managers this year, maybe 4 at a push. Let's move on to the next 3 teams then, who are around the halfway point of the bottom half. So going to go 18th to 16th. So in 18th place, I've got Charlton Athletic. 17th, I've gone for Stoke City, and then in 16th, I have gone for QPR. So I was saying relegation were tough to pick. I thought I had my 3 sorted, and then it were going to be kind of the order of the teams that didn't get relegated. I had Charlton as my 3rd bottom team for a very long time, but honestly, when you look at the business they've done, you can't put them anywhere near the drop, and I think we'll be absolutely fine. Him signing Kelman from QPR after the season he had last year at Leyton Orient is a great signing. Harvey Nibbs as well from Reading, another superb signing from League One. Reece Burke obviously went down with Luton and managed to nab him and keep him in the Championship. And Alafe from Stockport, I think that's going to be an absolutely fantastic signing. Him and Kelman up front, it's just going to screen goals. And I do like Nathan Jones as a manager. I think he's quite an underrated manager. I know he had a rough spell at Southampton and Stoke, but I still do think he's a decent manager. And I think they've done the business, and I think they'll be absolutely fine. Stoke in 17th, then I think it'll be a similar season to them. They've kind of finished around here. It's probably for average finish, to be honest with you, since it got relegated from Premier League. Consistently finishing about middle of the bottom half of the Championship. And I think a bit more again, to be fair. I do like Mark Robbins, but I don't see whether... I don't think they've strengthened much, but I don't think they've got any weaker either, really. So, I just think it'll be more of the same from Stoke City this season. And now I've got QPR in 16th. Always going to be a tough one. Obviously, we lost the manager to Leicester City, which I think is going to be a big blow. I had them quite a lot lower than this, but I do think they'll be all right, to be fair. They've made some decent signings. I think Poku from Peterborough is an excellent signing as well. And like I say, they've done all right last few seasons, a few mid-table finishes. And, I can't see them being too far towards relegation zone. I think if they'll probably finish a bit better than this, maybe a bit higher up, but I don't think we'll be anywhere near the playoff places with the strength of this league. So let's complete the bottom half now then. So we've got 15th through to 13th. So in 15th, I've gone for Portsmouth. 14th, I have got Derby County, and then in 13th, I have got Bristol City. So I've basically got QPR and Portsmouth leapfrogging each other, with QPR moving down 16th, Portsmouth leapfrogging QPR into 15th place. And we found it a bit tough at the start of last season. We were down near the bottom for a long time, but then we really hit form, especially when Colby Bishop came back into the squad and we shot up the table into a 16th place finish. And I think they'll improve 1 place, to be fair. I don't think they'll be much higher. I think mainly just because of the strength of the league. I think, it's going to be hard with other teams improving as well for Pompey to finish any higher. But I think a place higher than last season, it is a decent achievement for Pompey. Derby up in 14th next. And I said Portsmouth will leap 1 place. Derby have leaped quite a few places, to be fair. But I really like some of Derby's incomings, to be fair. They have made some really good signings. Like I said, with the Blackburn pair, Bath and Vyman, I like them coming in. Carlton Morris from Luton as well, I think is a decent signing. And of course, Ryan Brewster is going to be an interesting one. He came to Sheffield United with a big price tag and didn't really do it with it, so it's going to be interesting. Now he has gone to Derby. I don't mind their outgoings as well. A lot of them are, in the 30s, probably on the other end of the career, on the downwards, trend. So not a bad idea to get rid of them and get them replaced with some, fresh blood, to be fair. But I think it's going to be a positive season for Donny. Like I say, John Eustace with full season with him as well. I think, he'll push them up a fair few places. And finishing off the bottom half in 13th place, I have gone for Bristol City. A very hard team to predict this year. Obviously finishing in the last playoff spot last year in 6th. But we had a heavy defeat, 6-0 on aggregate over 2 legs to Sheffield United, and you tend to find, a lot of times when teams have had a heavy defeat who, probably lucky to get into the playoffs, then, well, not lucky, but, you wouldn't expect to get into the playoffs. They can struggle the season after. I don't think they'll struggle too much. I don't think there'll be any danger of going down, but, I think they'll be around mid-table. Like I said, Liam Manning going to Norwich, the manager, is a big blow, but, it's going to be interesting to see how they do, and I don't think mid-table will be too bad a season for Bristol City. Let's move in to the top half, then. It's time to bring in the two Welsh teams. So in 12th place, I've got Swansea City. In 11th, I have gone for Wrexham, and then in 10th place, I've got Middlesbrough. So Swansea in 12th to start off the top half, then so moving down one place from 11th. But I don't think they've got weaker. I think it's just the league in general has got a lot stronger, especially, the teams just outside of the playoffs. And I think Swansea will do well, to be fair. I think losing Harry Darling to Norwich is, it's a biggish loss. But, they've made some decent signings. I think Galbraith coming in from Leyton Orient, he's going to be, a decent player in midfield. And yeah, Swansea, they always seem to, do all right in the middle of the table. They tend to be, like I say, one of them championship teams. They're kind of, established mid-table championship team now. And yeah, just with strength of the teams above them, I just don't think we're going to get higher than 12. And now for the team, I'm sure a lot of people have been waiting to see where they get put, and that is Wrexham. I've gone for 11th place here, which I think is pretty fair, to be fair. A lot of people wondering if we can go back to back promotions, which just sounds crazy even saying that. I don't think they will. I don't think they'll be up at the playoffs. I don't think they'll be a million miles away, but, I think we're closer to mid-table than there will be to a top 6 place. I really like a lot of their incomings, though, and we're always going to do that. Like I say, they've got all the backing they need, especially, from the documentary and obviously Ryan and Rob. But, I do like the incomings. Lewis O'Brien from Forest, a good signing. Connor Cody. Kiefer Moore, that's a really good signing, just come in today, I think it was. Josh Windass to go up front with him as well, that's a very good striker partnership. Ryan Hardy, of course, from Plymouth, we've signed some really good players. And, players that have gone are kind of players that aren't going to get into that starting 11 anyway. So, I think they're really well equipped for a really good season in the Championship. I do think they'll be up there eventually. I think it might take a couple of seasons for them to get up there, but, I think an 11th place finish is a very good place to start for Wrexham, and can build on that year on year. In 10th, I've got Middlesbrough. They've underachieved the last few years, in my opinion, under Michael Carrick. I think they should have, they only had one season up in the playoffs, which they didn't do well in. I think they should, for a team their size and the talent they had, especially going forward, they should have finished a lot higher than they have done the last couple of seasons. And I don't see him getting playoffs again, to be honest with you. Rob Edwards, don't mind him as a manager, but I just think, I just don't see it working, to be fair. In years under Carrick, they really should have got up there, but they didn't. I don't see Rob Edwards changing that. I think the club needs quite a big reset, to be fair. And yeah, I just don't see this one being the year for Borough. Now we've got the teams who are just going to miss out on the playoffs, going to go from 9th to 7th. So let's have a look who is just missing out, in my opinion. So 9th place, I have gone with Norwich City. And then in 8th, I have got Millwall. And just missing out in 7th, I have got West Brom. 9th place, I got Norwich, then moving up 4 places from last season, where they definitely underachieved. 13th place finish, a really poor season for Norwich, in my opinion. But they brought Liam Manning in from Bristol City. And yeah, I think he'll do a decent job, to be fair. I just think the 8 teams above him, I know I've said this as a theme, so-and-so teams are stronger than the other teams. The top 8 are stronger, the top 6 are stronger, whatever. I just think, the other teams are stronger, to be honest with you, and I just don't see him finishing any higher than at 9th. I think Harry Darling coming in from Swansea on a free is great business. We've still got Josh Sargent as of now. Going to be interesting to see what he does, whether he moves. But if not, you're going to guarantee a fair few goals that season. But yeah, I think they'll move up a few places and just fall short of the playoffs. Millwall in 8th, I really want to put them in playoffs, but I just can't do it. Just when I look at the teams that I have got in the playoffs, I've got them in 8th, which it feels like finish 8th every single year. They did last year, and I think they will this year. Alex Neil's a good fit, to be fair. I think he's a great fit for Millwall, in my opinion. And yeah, I just think they'll fall short, to be fair. I mean, but a few outgoings, but kind of no one I expect to really be pushing their their starting 11, to be honest with you. Tanganga's still at the club for now, so if we can keep him, that's going to be absolutely huge. He really is a rock in their defence. And yeah, I think it'll be another season where, they're close for the whole season, but they just narrowly miss out on the final day of the season. And I've got West Brom just missing out in 7th. I think this top 6 is pretty nailed on, to be fair. I've not really changed it since the starting prediction a while ago, and I'm not going to do so now. So West Brom, the best of the rest, in my opinion. And I think Nat Phillips is a decent sign, to be fair, from Liverpool. Not too much of a business, to be honest with you, and not a lot of the outgoings either, but I think they'll do all right. I think, seem to be getting closer to getting back into the playoffs again, but like Millwall, I think on the last day of the season, I think we are just going to miss out. And now we really are in at the business end of the table. We've got the top 6. We're going to leave the top 3 for now. We're going to reveal 6th, 5th, and 4th place. So let's have a look at who I have got then. So in 6th place in the final playoff spot, I have got Leicester City. In 5th, I have got their local rivals Coventry City, and then playing them in the playoff semi-finals, I have got in 4th place Sheffield United. Leicester in 6th then, so a really tough team to predict where they're going to finish. A lot is going to depend, like I say, I know we've got a points deduction looming over the head. A lot is going to depend on what that number is as well. But obviously we've got QPR's manager coming in, and not a lot of players in. Begovic in on a free. It's not a bad championship keeper, to be fair. Outgoings, a lot of names that might stick out, like Conor Cody, Danny Ward, Jamie Vardy, but let's be honest, none of them are going to get in the squad at the minute anyway. But yeah, hard to predict. Leicester. They could easily fall outside the playoffs if a points deduction is big, but we've got a quality squad. It's definitely one of the best squads in the league, and a lot of this is dependent on that points deduction, but I do think no matter what it is, I think they'll be around 6th. Next, we've got Coventry in 5th. One of my favourite EFL clubs, to be fair. A really good club, friendly fans, and I always have a great time when I go to watch Coventry. And yeah, I think they'll have a good season once again, sticking in 5th place just like last season. I do like Lampard with him. I think he keeps it basic, keeps it simple, and he gets them playing good football. And good to watch as well. With the squad we've got, you would expect them to be up there. And yeah, I think, to be fair, with them and Sheffield United, I think that's going to be really close to fair. You could have had them in any order, but I think it's going to be another strong season from Coventry. Can, on the 3rd time asking, they get out of the playoffs. It's going to be interesting to see, but I think we have got a really good chance. So Sheffield United in 4th place then. So I don't think we're going to be up there, we're in a bit of a three-horse race with Leeds and Burnley last season, but I think we're going to be a bit more adrift this season, in all honesty. Louis Barry coming in, it's going to be an interesting one. That obviously he did struggle at Hull, he had injury problems and stuff like that, so it's going to be interesting. He did really well at Stockport, so the step up, from League One is going to be interesting to see how it does. And Sheffield had a lot of players on loan last season, and a lot of them have gone back. A few outgoings as well. Of course, Keith Moore going to Wrexham, Ryan Brewster going to Derby as well. So yeah, I think they'll be in playoffs once again. Especially if we can keep Gus Hamer. I think he is crucial. To him getting a playoff place once again. But I think they'll easily be top 6. It's just whereabouts they'll finish. But I think around 4th is about fair. So we're into the top 3 now. Then, so it's time to find out who I've got as champions, who I've got going up automatically, and who is getting that final playoff spot. So, yeah, we're between Birmingham, Ipswich and Southampton. So, let's put them in order. So, there we go then. So, in 3rd place in the playoffs, I've got Southampton. 2nd place, I've gone for Birmingham City, and your champions of the Championship for 25-26 season, I've got Ipswich Town. A lot of people have got Southampton in 2nd, however, I've got them in the playoffs in 3rd. I do probably think they'll win the playoffs, so I do expect them to go back up, this season coming up. Obviously, one of the worst Premier League squads in history, did absolutely shocking last season, but as we know now, a lot of times the 3 that come up come back down. The gap between Prem and the Championship is so big. And, even though they had such a bad season in Premier League, I think, we've got a really good squad for the Championship. And I think they'll be up there, to be fair. Will still is going to be interesting. I'm not going to lie, I've not really seen a lot of him. I don't really know what he's about. I can kind of imagine what he's going to do with, this new hipster kind of style of play, but it's going to be interesting to see if it works in English football. Keep an eye on Southampton next season, because it wouldn't surprise me if they do go up automatically. It wouldn't surprise me if they win the league either, but it's a bit of unknown with that as well, and I just think the 2 teams are going to be stronger. They've invested really well, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how Southampton do. So I said Wrexham won't get back-to-back promotions. However, I do think Birmingham City are going to get back-to-back promotions, and I've got them finishing in second place. And to be honest, with the backing, the momentum behind them right now, you can't really blame me. You know, I do think they will finish in second, and been very, very busy in the transfer window, both incomings and outgoings. Far too many for me to, to say them all, but there have been a lot of changes at Birmingham, and I think it's going to work, to be honest with you. I think, they're really well prepared for this. We've got relegated from Championship. A lot of fans will say it's probably the best thing that'll happen to him. Not only did Vinovo going into that season with new owners, but the club kind of needed a reset, in my opinion. They've been flirting with relegation for a couple of seasons, and it took them going down to League One to really catapult up. And I think they're going to carry on catapulting and get into the top division. I think they're well equipped for it, like I said. And yeah, I think it's going to be a good season, and we'll see Birmingham get back-to-back promotions. However, I haven't got Birmingham City as the champions, and that is because Ipswich Town are my Championship 25-26 champions. And you just look at the squad, it's just got quality all the way through it. It did decently well, probably as well as it could have done in the Premier League last season with the circumstances. It weren't enough in the end, but we do know what the gap is like from the Premier League to the Championship. And I think we're well equipped to really give it a good go in the Championship, and I think they'll do just that. Kieran McKenna, has proved he's a really good coach, and he has stayed with Ipswich after relegation. And I think he'll do what he needs to do. He will. He'll obviously bring some more players in, I think, and I think they'll give it a really good go. And I do think Ipswich Town will be your Championship 25-26 champions. So there we have it then. That is my Championship 25-26 predictions. So we'll get the table up onto the screen for the final time then. So my champions are Ipswich Town, and I've got Birmingham City getting automatically promoted with them. And then I've got Southampton, Sheffield United, Coventry City and Leicester City in the playoffs, with Preston North End, Hull City and Sheffield Wednesday getting relegated. So yeah, that's my 1 to 24. So let me know if you've done one. Who are your winners? Who's going up? Who's going down? If your team is in the Championship, where are they going to finish? And if you don't like where I predicted your team or my opinion, then, well, tough. It's my opinion at the end of the day. Don't take it too seriously. It's not going to have an impact on your team. Just let me know if you've got an opinion on my team. Let me know your opinion on your team and where you think they will finish. So anyway, that concludes my Championship predictions. So I'm going to leave this video here. So thank you very much for watching. If you're on here, please make sure you subscribe to the channel and drop the video a like, whether you're an old or new viewer. Under 50 subs away from 2,000 subscribers now, so please do subscribe and let's aim for 50 likes on this video. And also please remember to follow my social media at Gittings PT on pretty much everything. So we've got one more prediction video to do, which is going to be the Premier League predictions. The Premier League doesn't start for another week yet, so that video will probably be out about a week's time from now. But in between that video and this video, we'll have plenty of match day vlogs, so stick around for them. So until the next video, thank you very much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.